Part of what's exciting about D.R.E.A.M is that this is representing a new era, a new opportunity for achieving the dream. And I think the table's been set for achieving the dream. Over its history, it's really been the agent of change in community colleges. It helped to define the concept of what it means to be successful as a student at community colleges. And now as an independent organization, moving beyond its origins within Lumina Foundation, it's now taking on a new set of challenges about being able to help reshape and redesign what institutions are doing and helping to get that to that goal of increasing student success. And so it's this D.R.E.A.M is going to be a really important milestone, 1,600 people, a big chance to extend the reach beyond the member colleges in a way that that could be exciting for the future of community colleges, exciting for the future of college attainment in this country.
So how does community college and completion at community college fit into the larger agenda for you?
It's incredibly important for the country. You know, community colleges, of course, are the point of access for a significant number of students in our country. Almost half of all students in post-secondary education are in a community college. And so that in and of itself represents a major opportunity. Look, the country needs a lot more people with post-secondary credentials and degrees to power our economy, to improve our quality of life, to help both individuals and us collectively as a society be more successful. And community colleges represent the point of entry for a significant number of people to help us get there. What we need to do, though, is help the community colleges serve students better, to help students be more successful. And one of the things about achieving the D.R.E.A.M that I think has been proven is that this paradigm of student success can actually become the dominant theme within an institution. And you see that in many of the Achieving the D.R.E.A.M member institutions, that institutions whose history and origins were about providing access are now seeing themselves as providing access to success, that these are not mutually exclusive concepts, that opportunity is ultimately articulated with success, whether that success is the attainment of a credential, transfer to another institutions, getting a job. But the point is that that success paradigm is really a critical element of the work of community colleges, and that's really what this effort is all about. So I think colleges that do a handful of things can actually move the needle on student success. One is to literally make the paradigm be about student success. Now, some people may ask, wasn't that what they always were doing? And the answer is not really. Particularly from the perspective of community colleges, their mission was to create the opportunity, and then it was up to the student to determine the path forward. I think now we recognize that the institutions have a responsibility to the students to actually help them be successful. So one of the things that they can do is actually help support that paradigm. That's through financial aid policies, that's through their efforts to help provide support for students in their first year, counseling, tutoring, mentoring, what have you. It's also, I think, a role for community colleges to help improve the efficiency and the effectiveness of the system, the productivity of the enterprise. And we've seen in a variety of different contexts, just to use one example, in the state of Virginia, the community colleges are working together to improve productivity as a system that I think is showing some real results to actually not only promote better administrative and business-oriented efficiencies, but actually to be more innovative as institutions and deliver education using technology, using different means of instruction to help create incentives for students to stay in school and actually complete their credentials and stay on task. And so those kinds of things, I think, are going to be very important elements of the path forward for community colleges. It's the students that really matter, and I think part of what we're moving towards as a country is a system where student outcomes and what students learn are going to be more important than institutional outcomes and what the reputation of a degree that's awarded by a specific institution actually represents. In other words, if quality is ultimately about learning and the learning that's represented in a credential, a student-centered system gives us an opportunity to say, this institution can deliver that value, this institution can deliver that value, but ultimately it's the learning and what's represented in the credential that a student achieves from whatever institution that's really the most important thing. And I think a learning-oriented system with students at the center is where higher education, not only community colleges, but I think higher education is going. Mm-hmm. Some examples of things that I think show promise. One is offering education in a way that allows students to accelerate their progress towards the credential. So creating block scheduling, helping to get past whatever developmental needs they have much more quickly, maybe through the embedding of the developmental or remedial work within classes, as opposed to forcing it up front before they even begin the regular coursework. It's opportunities to use financial aid to create incentives for students to stay in school, to attend full time, to get through more rapidly. Those are the kinds of things that we think have a lot of potential. You know, one of the things that I think is there's a growing understanding about is that time is the enemy for an awful lot of students. Traditional age students, adults, part-time, full-time, you name it, time is really a challenge for people. And the value proposition of getting a credential compared to work, family, other obligations is a real challenge. So we want to find ways to bring down the barriers for students to stay focused and, in effect, to treat their education as their job. To say, my job is to get this credential, because if I get this credential, it improves my quality of life and it helps me be more successful. And then we're more successful as a society. As a supporter, as the organization that helped it get started, I mean, we see Achieving the Dream as really the center of the student success movement. I think Achieving the Dream demonstrated that you can actually create that shift in community colleges towards that student success paradigm. And now their challenge is going to be how much scale can they get out of their model? Scale within individual institutions and scale across a larger number of institutions. And I think that for many of the Achieving the Dream members, they're continuing to set the bar higher for themselves, whether that be in terms of their graduation rates, their within-year transfer rates, their ability to help students articulate from one institution to another. Those are the kinds of things that we're starting to see taking on added importance for the Achieving the Dream members. Yeah, I think community colleges are really the focal point of the country's need to dramatically increase post-secondary attainment because of our workforce needs. I think President Obama's articulated a goal that's very similar to Lumina Foundation's goal, 60% of Americans having high-quality degrees and credentials by 2025. The president's initial speech about it framed it as an issue of competitiveness with other countries, which is absolutely true. I think that other countries are doing a substantially better job at creating post-secondary opportunities, particularly for traditional age populations. But the international competitiveness paradigm is really a means to an end. The end is the quality of the American workforce, and skills are the driver of the quality of that workforce. And we see community colleges as a critical way for students to get those skills. Now, when I say skills, I don't just mean technical or vocational or content-based skills. I also mean generalizable skills, the ability to think critically, to be analytical, to solve problems, to communicate. Those skills, those competencies, the knowledge that's represented in those things ultimately are what any college should see as its outcome, and it should be what's represented in these degrees and credentials that we produce. It's that learning, both the content and the generalizable skills represented by the learning, that's really the most important thing to be producing.
That's great. Thank you so much, Jamie.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.